What's going on, y'all? This is Alexander. You are plugged into the Nerd Companion.
What's going on, y'all? This is Alexander from the Nerd Companion coming at you with a ClashCast episode going over 2025's WWE Night of Champions taking place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I'm super excited about this. Usually the Saudi Arabia shows aren't really considered canon, but it looks as though this event in Saudi Arabia looks pretty canon to me. We're starting to see some major pushes in the narrative, at least in this case with John Cena, CM Punk, the Queen and King of the Ring challenging the world and undisputed champions later on this year, and some interesting stories that have been playing out since Money in the Bank that will be taking place here at Night of Champions. I'm super excited about it. One specific match that I didn't know was going to take place at the Night of Champions that I thought was going to take place during Raw, the Monday after, that I'll go over with you during the show as it comes up. A couple things that have been going on in the WWE so far has been my excitement with Seth Rollins winning Money in the Bank. I felt that there could have been any of the winners in that match that would have pushed any story forward that I would have been interested in, but seeing my boy Seth Rollins move forward with Money in the Bank, there's no doubt in my mind that this guy's going to go for a world championship belt and ultimately win one, but we'll see that play out later on throughout the year. Super excited. Seth Rollins, one of the workhorses in the industry. Super glad that they're pushing a big narrative with him. Just super excited. One of my all-time favorite wrestlers in the industry right now. Probably one of the best wrestlers of all time. Most best well-rounded wrestlers that has been wrestling in the last decade, that will certainly go down in my Rushmore of wrestlers. So I'm super excited for Seth moving forward, especially with this new stable that he's got going on. Not sure what that name is, but I'm just super excited with what they're doing with the collab with Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. It's just so good. And everything that they got going for it, it's just going to make for good storytelling. And I'm super excited. But to get right into the card predictions for Night of Champions, let's get started here. I'm going to start here fresh with the main event, John Cena versus CM Punk. I have to tell you that when John Cena first came out of WrestleMania, at least even back to the Royal Rumble, it was really awesome to see John Cena, at least on paper. If you told me a year ago that John Cena would come back, he would be a heel, I probably wouldn't have believed you. Even if you told me it looks good on paper. Coming from Royal Rumble, seeing that sinister smile as he gave Cody that hug, I was just eager to see where it was going to go. But as the months went on, it seemed like the character he was playing was just a mad grandpa getting onto his children as the kids spent the weekend over at grandpa's house. And it just seemed like he was playing a victim, and it really just didn't sit well with me, only because it just seemed like it wasn't really convincing, because it just didn't really mesh with his character up until last Friday at SmackDown when he dropped the so-called Pipe Bomb 2.0, the sequel. That promo was so good. It seemed as though he was really comfortable in the shoes that he was in. It seemed genuine. And the things that he was saying to Punk was really convincing and actually made really good points, really valid points. You know, John Cena talked about how CM Punk is not even a punk anymore. He, in a sense that he's not fighting the system, that in fact he is not fighting TKO. He is Mr. TKO. This is the truth, man. And he was getting cheers. He was breaking the fourth wall. He was calling out wrestlers' names in other promotions. He was just doing everything he could to just make an absolute bomb of the entire situation. And it just felt really natural. And it felt convincing, and I hope that this is the John Cena that we get moving forward. This is something that I can get behind. It's just something I can get behind moving forward, because it just seems more convincing to me, and it just seems like he was having more fun with that approach with his character, and I'm super excited to see it. To talk about the match, I don't think that CM Punk will win this match, although I think it would make for an interesting story if CM Punk won. I just think that John Cena will not probably drop the title, if at all, at a PLE that's not going to be, if he's going to drop it, he's going to drop it at SummerSlam or Survivor Series. I don't think it's going to happen at any other PLE. It's got to be a big, big event for it to happen, and I think it's going to be one of those two events. But the match that I did not think was going to happen at a PLE is Karrion Kross and Sami Zayn. I am super excited that Karrion Kross is finally getting a match that's going to be televised. And not only that, but at a PLE nonetheless. It's going to be amazing. Some of the work that Karrion Kross has been doing recently and, talking about over the last year has been some of the best character work that I have seen in wrestling in a very long time. And I'm talking about overall promotions, over WWE especially. I think that it gets hard, at least in my belief. I think maybe the people in the back have a hard time pushing Kross because I feel as though the current culture in WWE has got really used to having almost this veil of realism with their characters. Like if you look at Cody Rhodes and his character, it's almost as if you're really seeing the true Cody Rhodes, how he is as a person. When you're looking at CM Punk, you're getting CM Punk who he is as a person. When you're seeing Randy Orton, you're getting Randy Orton who he probably is as a person. When you see LA Knight, you're seeing maybe a dialed up version of LA Knight, of who he is as a person. And someone like Karrion Kross, who is completely method with his approach and character work, has been some of the best work that I've seen in the current industry. And I think that the people in the back have a hard time showing this on the screen, is that they might be a little apprehensive because they're trying to appease to the realism, the real characters and how they probably are in real life. And maybe they're just not wanting to push him for that reason. But I think that is the reason why you push this man. He has been busting his behind, with social media, with his documentary, the book he wrote that he dropped. He is going well beyond the umbrella that WWE has allowed him to do, given the restraints that they put on this man, which I don't see why they put any restraints on this man. This guy, he's almost a genius. I've said it before in previous podcast episodes that he's literally the antithesis of the hero, the antithesis of the babyface. He is the Joker to Batman. If you look at some of his interactions with AJ Styles is your clean-cut babyface. When he had that match that was televised, he took the phenomenal forearm, and I'm not sure how many people noticed it, but I noticed it because I just like to pick up on these things. He put his hands behind his back to take the hit because he almost wanted AJ Styles to do the wrong thing. He wanted to bring out the necessary evil in AJ Styles to get him to evolve. And that's what we're seeing with Sami Zayn. He's trying to get Sami Zayn to evolve, to bring out the darkness so he can evolve into a better version, at least better in Karrion Kross's perspective, so that he can grow. Or maybe he's just out there to break these characters. That's still a little unclear. But that's why you need to push this man, because there's something much deeper than the bare face that you see in most of these other wrestlers. He's doing something that's deeper. He's cerebral. He's bringing something forward that's darker, that's sinister, that's not really talked about, right? And it's just super exciting to see this character. And now that he's getting this big match in Saudi Arabia on a PLE nonetheless, it's just super exciting. And it's a huge payoff for all the hard work and efforts he's put in to be put on a show like this. And I'm just so happy that he's finally getting, his flowers, his dark, withering roses that he's been deserving to receive for so long. I definitely have Kross winning this match. I will be so surprised and equally upset if he loses, because it would go against everything that Kross's character is, which is this badass, right? And the only exception for Kross to lose is if Kross decides to lose, as if like what he did with AJ Styles when he put his arms behind the back to make AJ Styles do the necessary evil deed that could be the only way that I would accept Karrion Kross's loss. But I don't think that's going to happen. I did this podcast with my buddy Frank right before recording this, and the audio was all messed up. And I was so irritated because Frank is the one that was responsible for getting me back into current wrestling. And we just had this really good conversation going forth because he was the guy that he brought my attention to Karrion Kross a couple years ago when he wasn't necessarily having any light shown on him. And to see Karrion Kross get this spotlight and get on this PLE is just super exciting for me. He was saying that the only way that this ends was that Karrion Kross was going to bury him in Saudi Arabia and Sami Zayn would never come back to America, which would be hilarious. It would never happen. But I definitely have Kross winning this match, and if Kross loses, it'll be because it'll be on Kross's terms, and it'll be because of the narrative. I'm super excited for that match, and that's actually going to be the most exciting, most anticipating match for me to watch on that card. I just can't wait for that one. That's going to be my favorite match on the card. Next, we have Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. Rhea Ripley is going to be on the Rushmore of best wrestlers of all time. I don't care what you say, male or female. She is one of the best wrestlers in that roster. I don't care what you say. I will put my life on that statement. The way she sells, the way she works, the way she sells while getting into a spot is just, it's just the tiny details that most people don't get that I pick up on when I watch the in-ring talent. She's just so good at remaining in character and selling it and stumbling into spots that no other wrestler does. And I just admire that talent. I definitely see Rhea completely destroying Raquel in this street fight. I don't see it going any other way. And as someone who is a fellow Texan, as much as I like Raquel Rodriguez, Rhea Ripley's going to dog walk that ass. Next you have, and I'm torn between this one, Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. I would be happy with either one winning because I really love Solo. I really like how he was behaving and acting in the Money in the Bank match with, imitating everyone else's gimmicks, and just making fun of everyone. It's just so funny. I can tell that behind the curtain, he's probably a big jokester. He's probably pranking everyone, and he seems like someone who's always putting a smile on everyone's face. Probably not a popular thing to say because he plays the heel, but that dude has grown so much over the last 2 years, and if he got the title, I wouldn't fight it. I think it would legitimize him, even though I don't think, in my opinion, it legitimizes him because he's already legitimized in my point of view, but I think either A, it'll legitimize him to someone who just needed him to win that title to convince them that he needed that title to be recognized, or it'll bring a lot of heat. And either way, it's a positive for Solo. Any publicity, whether it's good or bad, is good publicity, period. I definitely see Fatu winning, retaining, but if Solo won, I'm not going to fight it at all. I think it'll be very, very interesting. Fatu's growth since coming in as a heel and basically transcending that to being a face, but not really doing babyface things. He's definitely a tweener. He's just kind of pulled it off, kind of like how Stone Cold pulled it off, right? Like I imagine when Vince McMahon proposed Stone Cold to be pushed, they were pushing him to be heel, but he was just so accepted and people just rallied behind him. That's the same kind of thing I'm seeing with Jacob Fatu. He's doing his own thing. He's remaining true to his character and the people are behind him. And he's so over right now. I don't see him doing any wrong. He literally could destroy Cody Rhodes and nobody would hate him. You know what I mean? Or I should say, I mean. But I definitely have Fatu winning, but I wouldn't be mad either way. I really wouldn't. Next, we have the Queen of the Ring match, Jade Cargill versus Asuka. Two very different wrestlers. If I had to put my money on something, I would say that Jade Cargill is going to win just based off of the push they're giving her. I don't necessarily think she needs a title right now. There's so much narrative they could push with Naomi and Bianca Belair I don't think she needs it, but I think they're going to push for her. But I really would want Asuka to win just because she's so different and she has a different character, something that's different from what I was talking about before with Karrion Kross. There's something different and something almost supernatural with her. Like she's a Japanese anime villain. It's unlike most characters you see. She transcends the realism and brings dynamic and depth to the characters and the talent in, the industry for WWE. And I definitely think that it would make for a better story. Jade Cargill, she's an amazing talent. There's no doubt in my mind that she's going to be one of the greats. But I think that that's ultimately why they're going to push Jade to win it. Who she challenges, I don't know. But we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see. Next match, the final match of the card that we're going to be talking about is Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. I'm torn between this because I think it'll be too soon for Cody Rhodes to challenge Cena. And I'm not even 100% convinced that him challenging Cena is even the right decision. And it's nothing against Cody Rhodes. There's no doubt that he is one of the most over wrestlers right now. I just don't know if it's the right move on a narrative standpoint, because if he wins and he challenges Cena, I don't see him losing. He would have to take it from him. And then the question remains from there, what do you do with Cody Rhodes that's different on this run that hasn't been done or had the opportunity to do while he was champion on the first run? As much as I love Cody Rhodes, I don't think that there was ever a feud during his reign that was that exciting other than the Kevin Owens feud. His best match was with Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble, and that was absolutely insane. I think that Randy Orton should win because the only two people in my mind that make sense to take the title from John Cena has to be either CM Punk or Randy Orton. Given that CM Punk I don't think is going to win at Night of Champions, it has to be Randy Orton. That's the only person that makes sense. Given the history between John Cena and Randy Orton, I just don't see another answer. It just doesn't make any sense. And I think it makes for a better story for Cody down the road, right? You have all this history with Orton and Rhodes. If Orton beats Cody, I feel like that could create animosity between the two. You know what I mean? And then you have Cody chasing after Orton if Orton takes it from Cena, which is what I think is going to happen. Or what I think should happen. I think what's going to happen is that Cody Rhodes is going to win. I just think that it would hurt him in the long run if he won the crown and challenged Cena and won it. I hope WWE proves me wrong. I hope that they do something that's more interesting than they did on his first run. Again, not a knock on Cody Rhodes. I love the guy. My kids love the guy. That further reinforces why I like the guy even more. But I just don't think it will be good for a story for Cody. Because to go back to my original point, I just don't see what they could do with Cody as champion again that they haven't done or had the opportunity to do on his first run. It just doesn't make any sense for me. The only thing that would make it interesting for me, and it's just me, my humble opinion, is that there has to be some sort of evolution with Cody. And if you want to keep Cody as a white baby face, then you don't need to give him a title. You just entangle him in other feuds and bring him down later to do so. But that's just my humble opinion. I'm trying to play out different scenarios in my head with how it could work out. Cody Rhodes could win, and then you could see Randy Orton going heel and then taking it from Rhodes, and then that could push Rhodes to being a heel. But Cody Rhodes already said that if he gets another chance, he will not give John Cena the benefit of the doubt, implying that he was going to play dirty too. So if he does win and he plays dirty, hopefully that could be the trajectory to, have him turn, not completely, maybe just slowly, encroaching inch by inch, slowly to becoming what we've seen in other promotions is him being a heel. Because if you go back and you can YouTube any of Cody Rhodes' previous heel runs, he can be an asshole. The way he talks to people in the crowd, how he talks to other wrestlers, he's got it in him. He's got that George in him. He's got that bulldog in him. Okay? We've seen it. We've seen it in the past. We just haven't seen it with WWE, at least in the current regime. We've seen him be a heel under the McMahon regime with his different character work before he left. But I don't know. If they do it right, it could be even bigger than it could be bigger than Cena's heel turn, in my opinion. I was having a conversation today with someone at work, and they were talking about the only person that could beat John Cena is the OTC Roman Reigns. My only thing against that is that you can't give Reigns the belt anymore for several reasons. One of which was the reign that he had prior to this. For 3 years, he was champion. That's huge. He carried WWE for years into the era that we're currently in. And you got to give the man his flowers, because he did something and he put that whole corporation on his back for 3 years to carry it to where it is today. And I just see him now wanting to take a break and live life because he worked so hard for so long. And if he were to come back, I think he's just going to come back periodically like we've seen him do. And I don't think that they're going to put the belt on him, simply for the fact that he just won't be around as frequent as he even was before, which wasn't frequent at all. And if you give him the belt, you would have to do something so monumental, whether that's another 3-year reign, which I don't think that they're trying to do. Because if he would to get the belt and then lose it in a couple months, that would diminish everything that he's done in the past. You've got to leave it where it was, right? It's almost like taking that last 3 all net, wet as hell, and then you just walk away. Like, you got to leave while you're on top. And that's not to say that Roman Reigns is retiring, but I feel like having him win and not have him do a 3-year reign or a crazy reign like he had before would muddy the water that he left. And I just don't see that happening. The only way that you can get OTC back, Roman Reigns, is if you entangle him in a narrative with other people where he can kind of just drop in, drop out, and just show up for the pops, right? So that's my only argument for Roman Reigns not taking the title. And that's out of respect for the legacy that he left behind. Winning the title doesn't do anything but hurts his legacy. He needs to leave that, the last reign that he had, his 3-year reign, the record reign, as it is, and that's what he needs to be remembered by, because you're not going to see a reign like that for over a decade. You know what I mean? Anything can happen in wrestling. You never know. But I just don't see that happening.